Bees everywhere. Absolutely everywhere. It's amazing.
We're back here again at our main apiary to do some miscellaneous beekeeping today. We got a few things on the agenda, nothing large and major that's worth its own video, but just a conglomeration of different things. We also want to give a little update about what we're seeing this spring and just how the bees are doing. It's about time for a video like that again. The first thing that we did, or in the progress of, took a break from to make this video, is setting up a little nuke yard. That's right over here beside us.
Well, setting up the foundations for it.
Right, setting up the foundations and the bases for it. We have another video about how our actual process of setting up bases works. So you can watch that if you're interested. I'll probably be dropping in a little time lapse of us setting up these bases right now.
You're
getting buzzed. I think there's bees around here.
I wonder why. Also, 2 weeks ago, we posted a video showing how we bumped nukes, or overwintered nukes, up into deeps. And last week when we were going through hives, we discovered that some of those overwintered nukes were actually already strong enough to be needing deeps. They were on 7, 8, 10 frames, which
it's
flabbergasted us. But we had a bunch of comb from dead outs, so we put boxes together and dropped a lot of deeps, dropped a lot of seconds on. So we'll probably go into some of those nukes and see if they're moving up into the seconds, how they're using them, if they're using them. Maybe do some checkerboarding in some of the colonies that aren't taking advantage of it, and go from there.
We realized it was a little bit early. I mean, they weren't going to swarm off or anything, but also we have drawn comb sitting in a barn. May as well get it on a hive where they can use it as soon as they want it, rather than leaving it up in the barn just to get infested by wax moths and be a total loss.
It's a little too early in the year for that, but you can never be too careful.
Right. So we're going to see what those are doing. We'll go through one of those together today and see what's happening, see if they're moving up. Also, I want to show you just some of the forage that we have around here. We want to talk about the spring. We'll get into that in just a little bit. We also are very, very curious to go through our strongest hives. We're excited to see what they've done as of April 17th. When we were in them 2 weeks ago, they were busting. They were too deep strong, and we actually put a couple supers on top of them.
2 weeks ago.
Was it last week?
It was last week.
Yeah. We put 2 supers on. It was kind of a bad week for it, but we're just very curious and excited to see that. So stick around and we'll go through our strongest colony together as well.
In the last week, 2 weeks, we've also been seeing a lot of forage getting started. The, what's this, dead nettle, henbit, something like that. These early spring flowers are still blooming strong. Dandelions also got started really strong this week, or the last 2 weeks. Ornamental trees are going insane, and as you can see from this unmanaged pear tree behind me, fruit trees are blooming too. And the bees are going absolutely nuts over it. Like, this tree's full of bees.
I don't know if you can tell, but our beehives are 20 yards over there. This one's right beside. And it's just humming. There's bees all over it. I'll show you a little video with us not talking so you can hopefully hear the tree buzzing. I'll cut that in right now. So yeah, as you can see, it is just totally buzzing.
Spring's here.
There's bees all over it. They love it. But with the week we have coming up, should be 60 degrees, partially sunny most of the time. So
1 or 2 70-degree days.
We're very hopeful for a surplus coming in already.
Get the bees started really strong.
That's right.
Get them growing, boosted up, so we can slap deeps and supers on them.
Yep, it's time to make a honey crop again. So we'll go through some hives and see what we see how much nectar they have stored, and see what we got going on.
So this colony was a 4-frame nuke. Well, it's technically a double-stacked 4-frame nuke, but they were only covering 4 of the frames 2 weeks ago. And as you can, then we put them in the bottom deep 2 weeks ago and dropped this deep one last week, and they're not really doing anything in this top box. I mean, there's bees in it, but just looking down through the frames, they're not doing much. And they're up in it, but I don't see any. They're not covering it. They're just present, probably cleaning it and other miscellaneous tasks. But let's just take a peek at the bottom box. And that's why we gave them another deep, because they are ready for it. And they're going to move up soon. I mean, they've got bees up here. But once they have their next major brood hatch, it'll be good to go, I think.
All of these ones that we put a deep on back here, we simply dropped the deep on top. We didn't move any brood up.
Because we didn't want to break up that brood cluster because we were having a cool week.
But it looks like we just about nailed it on this one because they're covering it. But there's not like an excess of bees up there. And if you look down here, I have bees the whole way on the outer edge. It might show up. And then if I pan over to the other side, I got bees on that edge. So they've occupied this box. And they're ready for the next one.
One of these should have been a blank, or two of these should have been blanks last week, or 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Some smoke on them.
Sean's trying hard to get stung today.
I've seen the little faces peeking up at me. You love to see it.
It's intimidating for the first year, and then cute for the rest of the years.
So this frame should have been completely empty 2 weeks ago.
Just a foundationless frame.
I think, anyway.
Should have been.
Oh my. So, they doing good.
I think they have a queen in there. How about you? Apparently there was enough forage out there.
That is a beautiful laying pattern.
So we're happy with these, but they're not busting up into the second peep yet.
Once these hatch.
Yeah. They're close to it though. We're not too far ahead of them.
So this colony is an overwintered deep, or an overwintered colony. They came through in 2 deeps. 3 weeks ago we did a box reversal, moved 2 frames up, and gave them 4 empty frames. Well, we might have moved 3 frames up because I'm seeing 3 old frames here and then 2 empties. Looks like they're drawing comb. Everything looks beautiful up here.
There's a video link on screen now for us actually doing the bump up and manipulations we did.
I just want to pull this empty frame here and see what they're doing with it, because queens usually lay in the fresh comb. And I want to see if the queen is indeed moving up in these boxes.
The brood that we moved up should have baited her up here, and then this fresh comb is normally very attractive to them.
Drawn drone comb full of eggs.
So that confirms that she did move up into the top box, and judging by the amount of bees, that she's probably laying about at max right now.
We'll do a lean check. Look at how many bees are in the bottom box. I don't really need to go any further. I've seen everything I need to see up here. But we are at the very beginning of swarm season, so we need to be starting to pay attention to that.
Also, you can notice on this hive, Sean, before you tip it, they don't need more space yet. We have empty seams, 3 empty seams and 2 empty seams over here. So they got at least a week yet before they'll need a super.
Might need to drop a super or 2 on next week. We got plenty of supers, and it's not going to hurt the bees to have it on, so we might as well just start chucking them on. So we got good 10 frames of bees down here. Oh, I kind of want to pull one of these fresh ones, because these would have been just put in 3 weeks ago.
I'm going to smoke the bees off the bottom here. And that lets you see queen cells very clearly.
If they wanted to swarm, you'd be seeing peanuts hanging off the bottom of these frames, and we're not seeing that, so we're good to go.
So just for the sake of seeing how these colonies are doing, we're going to try to get stung and dig in a little deeper. like we saw on our nuke. If a nuke drew a frame out, or most of a frame out, and laid it full, this one should be even more spectacular than that one was, because this colony is quite a bit stronger.
They've had, well, I still think that frame must have been at least partly or mostly drawn. But this frame has been in here for 3 weeks. So over here at the edge of the brood, I'm kind of expecting to see a lot of drone brood, because the bees are it's swarm season, so the bees are thinking about making drones, and they draw the comb for what they want to make. And I kind of cheated and looked across the frame to see drone brood.
I was gonna say, that was a really good guess.
So I'm thinking that it might be swarm season.
So 3 weeks ago, nothing.
Yeah, this was a blank 3 weeks ago, and now we have. I don't see emerging drones yet, but they're just some cap drones.
And they got it attached on the side here and attached on the other side.
Beautiful.
They're busy. Double deeps. That guy's gonna put us a lot of honey up if we can keep it from swarming off.
And I'll bet that one closer to the core of the brood nest is probably all worker brood. Drone brood. Interesting.
We got a queen cup started here too.
Queen cup or queen cell?
It's empty, it's dry. So yeah, interesting.
This colony here is the strongest colony that we have this year. It's a swarm that we caught early last year. In fact, all the colonies in this particular yard are swarms except for this one here, which is a nuke that we overwintered. Last week we were in here, they were nice and strong, so we dropped some supers on top of it, expecting to not find anything, but we have a surplus of equipment, so if we even think that there's a chance that the bees need it, we're just throwing it on. I'm hearing a lot of activity. Next box down.
We just finished going through some of the other colonies here, and we're seeing 2, maybe 3 frames of nectar in the brood boxes.
Nothing up in here yet. They're cleaning up the cells and getting ready, but they're not working it at all.
Not storing anything in it.
Nope.
That's what we expected.
That's what we expected.
Give them this week yet.
Well, yeah, like last week the weather was just cool and not a whole lot of good foraging days. This coming week, cool and wet and rainy and just, yeah, not very nice. This week is the exact opposite of that, so we're excited to see what these bees do. Now, this colony, to be honest with you, we really should split it. Like, we should split this colony. But we're gonna try running them hot and see if we can keep them from swarming and make a lot of honey off of them. But we'll see if that works or not. I don't even think I need to go in here. Like, I'm looking down, I see brood, I see more brood.
No, let's dig through it. I want to see. I want to count frames.
Well, I'll pull number 2 here, and there's probably going to be brood on it.
Just full of drones, too.
Yeah. Beautiful little colony here. It is, unfortunately, one of our more aggressive colonies. They've never quite liked being messed with all last year, and this spring has been much the same. So, despite their excellence in wintering and spring buildup, I don't think we're going to be breeding off of them, simply because of that penchant for being fussy. I mean, I wish I could breed off of this queen. She's a monster.
That's second from the edge in the top box that she got 3 weeks ago. Set that aside. Let's see what we got.
too crazy in this one because, again, this is a more aggressive colony.
That's why I want you to go through it. I'm just the cameraman today.
Button my hands.
Stronger they get, the more fussy they get, typically, so.
This is a strong colony that's fussy to begin with on a cloudy, cool day. So yeah, I'm gonna probably get zapped. I'll do one more friend. And then we'll do a lean check, because if ever there was a colony that was ready to swarm, it's this one.
Emerging brood on that one.
I got a queen cup on this side. Can't tell if it has anything in it or not. Empty. Good.
Really what we can hope for to keep these in the box is a good strong flow.
Give them something to work. Get the density of bees in the brood nest down. But yeah, I mean, honestly, if we wanted to, we could probably just take this top box, set it on a base, and each colony would, whichever box didn't have the queen would raise a queen. And we could still probably make honey off of them.
But it's just frame after frame like that.
It's a monster of a queen. I do not want to lose her.
Anyway, let's do a tip check now. I'm sure it's more of the same through that whole box.
Yeah, it's just sheets and sheets of capped brood. Tip check. Get the box loose. Slide it back end in an inch or two, just so you don't accidentally drop the whole thing off the back. And take a peek. Where's the smoker?
Just got stung on the leg.
I see drone cells, no queen cells. Can't even see the queen. Like the queen cups that were there probably couldn't have even been turned into cells because they were right down against the bottom board.
There's more bees in the bottom than there were last time.
Than last week, but I'm seeing lots of there's empty cells and whatnot. Like they're not using it.
Mm-hmm.
See honey on the outside, empty cells in there.
Okay.
Thanks for joining us on our beekeeping day today on April 17th, 2021. We had a lot of fun going through beehives and messing around, and I hope you enjoyed coming along with us. At this point, we're excited about what the week's going to bring and what the year's going to bring in general. We're in a much better position this year than we were last year. And yeah, at this point it's wait for supers, wait for the bees to go nuts, and hope this one doesn't swarm on us. Thanks for coming along.